Hi, and welcome to The Gist. Whether it's young children on the playground or grown ups in a boardroom, we all experience friction in our interactions from time to time. Of course, it's natural to yearn for a world where we all just get along, but the reality is we all have to deal with difficult people. And if we're honest, we can all be the difficult people that others have to deal with as well. So, what are some things we can do to make our interactions more harmonious and productive? Interrupt the spiral of negativity. It's so easy for small disagreements to escalate into full blown arguments. And once that spiral begins, each person gets more rooted in their position, more defensive, and more certain that the other person is completely wrong. Once we start heading down this path, logic pretty much goes out the window. We sometimes don't even remember why we're arguing in the first place, but it seems really important to win at all costs. It becomes a matter of principle at best and ego gratification at worst, or simply about saving face. This is the exact time when our rational brains are just too hijacked with emotion to pause. We're not able to reframe the situation and see it from another person's perspective. But with time and practice, we can develop the awareness needed to recognize and interrupt this communication spiral. If you take a moment to practice compassion, including self compassion, and point out that a particular discussion has gone off the rails, everyone might feel relieved. Even if in the moment things are too heated, everyone can walk away and come back together when people are more level headed and able to communicate constructively. It takes some boldness and humility to do this, but one person can indeed change the trajectory of a conversation. Look beneath the surface. Often, we only see each other's surface behaviors. Of course, it's natural to judge other people by their behaviors because, frankly, what else can we go by? Even if we think we know someone very well, none of us are mind readers, so we just go by what we see. Yet, it pays to consider what might be going on in the other person's day. This is, of course, simplest to do with children. If a child is hungry or tired, it's easy to see the root cause of their tantrums. After a little rest, food, maybe a big hug or some silly play, kids generally bounce back to a more positive mood. While adults are a little more complicated, our own dysregulated behavior is often rooted in the same simple things. We haven't taken the time to eat. We haven't been sleeping well, or our emotional reserves are low after a particularly demanding day. At other times, people may be going through bigger life challenges like a divorce, a job change, a move, or illness and loss. At difficult times like these, we all need a little more support and perhaps more leeway for our behavior. See the whole person. We're all human with complex emotional lives, but it's easy to slot people into the roles that we know them for most of the time. It's natural to see your boss or your colleague as only their role, but they're also likely partners, parents, neighbors, or caregivers to other people in their broader lives. Seeing the whole person humanizes them. Similarly, with those closest to us, a spouse, a child, an aging parent, we might be putting them into a box based on their role in our lives. And with so much shared history, it can be hard to see our loved ones with fresh eyes. But imagine for a minute that you were meeting them for the first time and see how differently you might view them. Notice all the many positive qualities that are endearing alongside their very human flaws. This perspective can also help us take things a little less personally, because often how someone is behaving has more to do with them than with you. By and large, these strategies are helpful in many day to day interactions. However, there may be intractable situations with especially thorny personalities where communication is next to impossible. If someone is being abusive with their actions or words, physical and emotional self protection is paramount. In such situations, where another person is unable or unwilling to cooperate, compromise, or introspect, healthy communication may not be possible. In which case, we may have to resort to setting boundaries, finding workarounds, or keeping interactions short. In some extreme cases, we may even have to distance ourselves completely if someone is not just difficult but also harmful, and hope that they can find their own path to self improvement. On the whole, humans are social creatures, which means we have to learn to interact respectfully for the sake of our collective well being. Relationships can be hugely nourishing, but can also at times be the bane of our existence. The more we can introspect and understand ourselves, our motivations, and our values, the more we can heal the wounds in our own lives. And by so doing, the more we can bring wisdom, humor, and goodwill to others. This kind of mutual understanding is incredibly healing. And just as hurt people, so can healed people heal people. On that note, wishing you a great week ahead, be well, and see you next time on The Gist.